and TikTok. So, how's everybody doing today? Hey, Jessica, me here. So, we're going to do the normal thing I am hearing right now. So, channel timeless collective reading and the full channel mode session. And hey, Lola. And then we'll, I guess that's it, probably for the live here. So, I'm going to just give it a second to say hi to everybody showing up. And if you're on YouTube, by the way, timestamps should be below in the description. If you're watching the replay, probably not live. Well, definitely not live. um, hey, Lage Jade, or La Jeffa Jade. Sorry, I said that weird. Angels, hi. So I'm going to drink some water. Hey, S7, and hey, Afton on YouTube. How are you doing? So they would like me to start the collective reading right now. So I guess we'll do that. Give me 1 second here. So the spiel, they're all reminding me of the spiel. So channel time is collective reading. That's for you whenever you see it, whether you're here live or here on YouTube. And if you just clicked here, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, I'm, doing this both for TikTok live over here and YouTube live here, though it'll only be replayed on YouTube. And so again, meant to be for you whenever you see this, whenever you're showing up for it. And it's just meant to bring through what's going to be helpful for you, what do you need to hear right now, what's going to be for your highest good, etc. So let's start here. They're starting right away by showing me a frog. And so let me see what the deal is with this frog here. And it seems to have, like, white spots on it, and they're kinda really playing up the tongue part of the frog where it's, shooting out and eating flies and things like that. It's about leaps of faith, but it's forced here. There was a message that came through on July when I was channeling a bit on July for YouTube or something like that, and I haven't put anything like that out yet. I still need to film it, I guess. However, it's kind of about how leaps of faith are being forced. Leaps of faith are being forced right now. Like you might have decisions you need to make in a hurry, or the universe is forcing change upon you, but it's actually good. Or it's like a forced change at work, for example. If you're like, hey, we need you to move to this department because this old department's just being shut down, or something like that. It's like you still have a job. It's just like you have a better circumstance, or it leads you to a better circumstance in the stepping stone nature of the changes, if that makes sense. Like you go to this change and then it leads to this thing, and you're like, oh, you just moved up in the company, is an example. So there's a lot of not necessarily that exact thing going around, but things like that going around where there are forced changes that improve things, even if you don't like it at the start or you're used to a certain pattern and you don't like that your pattern's dissolving or something like that to make room for this change. It's really for the better. So that's what the forced leaps of faith thing is about, and there's a lot of that going around, especially through the summer. And well, I'm filming this in summer in the northern hemisphere, so it could be winter for you, when you're seeing this. But over the next few months from when you're seeing this, and even through the rest of the year, there could still be like aftershocks, I guess you could say, of this notion or this message or this topic, I guess, going around. Where it's still kind of happening for you or for people around you, etc. So we're still in the frog thing here. We're not done with it. There's also this treasure chest that this frog is leaping towards in this intuitive visual and channeled visual I'm being shown here. So, and this frog ends up getting all this treasure here. So you are actually leaping towards treasure through leaps of faith you're being guided to take or that are forced upon you. And, this could be self initialized as well. If you get like the intuitive messages like, oh, I need to quit my business, for example, and like go travel, or, if you have a safety net lined up and it's safe and it makes sense to you, it doesn't have to be like a crazy, crazy move or anything like that. And it like leads to the best thing ever for you, or the best thing yet for you. I prefer things like best. Well, like when I'm manifesting, I prefer things like best yet instead of best ever, because it's like not that we have to be coming from a fear-based place, like, oh, we're going to limit the universe, but if you say best yet, there's still room for it to get better afterwards. If you say best ever, it's like, I guess you could ask for it to be rectified, but maybe just an interesting idea for you if you're interested in that sort of thing here. The other thing with this message, though, is that there's treasure coming your way, and it's almost like treasure's being forced upon you. And this might sound weird. However, what's the best way to say this? Maybe sometimes we're in a place where I want to make sure I get this message out right. So let me sit with it for a second here. Sometimes we're like afraid of the treasure being offered to us by the universe, or we're afraid of the changes that lead to really good things, or we're like afraid we're going to mess it up. I would do your best to receive it anyways if that's you. Like if you're being offered a really great thing and you're like, and it could be like love is the example that's popping in. Like there's like a really great opportunity for you in love with like a great person. You're like, what if I mess it up? Because it's actually a great person. And what I'm hearing is just take the opportunity if you have a good opportunity, and the rest will sort itself out, or you'll get the healing you need through that opportunity to be able to hold it, or uh, you'll learn something you need for the future, at the very least. Though I feel like it's going to pan out well for all of you is also what I'm getting to say. So that's cool here. So take the treasure, receive the treasure that's coming your way, that's forced upon you, in addition to any treasures you're leaping towards with the leaps of faith kind of message coming in here. So we're not done with frog. We're still on frog here. So what's up? So sometimes we are guided to move away because there's this frog. He's sitting. He has like a little king crown on and like all this jewelry, and he's in a pretty good place here. He has this staff with like a pearl, like at the head of the staff, like almost floating between these two parts, like twig parts of the staff shooting up. So really interesting. Uh, However, so the message is like sometimes we do have something that's good that we're guided to change or move away from, and we're kind of like, what gives? Why am I leaving this like good place to live behind, for example, or this stable position behind, or this even like a friendship, I guess, could be an example, though you don't have to force all your friends out of your life upon hearing this or anything. It's and sometimes there's just something better, and sometimes we don't see the rot that's coming to, like, creep up on an otherwise good circumstance. So it's like maybe the example that's coming to me is, like, if you buy a home and everything seems perfectly fine, but then there's, like, mold in the walls, for example. God forbid. I don't wish that on any of you, or anyone really. And then, like, you just don't catch it, or, like, inspection doesn't catch it or whatever, and then it's, like, a few years later, like, the mold starts to spread, and it's, like, maybe before that happens, or as that starts happening, you're guided to, like, move out or sell your home, or get rid of it or something, and you're like, "Why? This is a great stable place to live, and da 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 da, and my friends live next door, and da 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 da," and, sometimes you're just guided to leave before something gets bad when it comes to something, even if it's really good in the moment, and the universe is kind of sparing you the grief of the downturn in that situation. So I'd really listen to your intuition regarding things you're guided to walk away from, even if it's good. And like again, sometimes we are just guided from something good to something great or something better. So don't discount that side of things as well. With just some of the changes we're making right now, we're guided to make, or that are thrust upon us. Okay, so that's it with frog, they're saying. So we're good on frog. Next, they're showing me this like orange crystal. They're showing me Charizard from Pokemon. I know some of you like to laugh when the Pokemon show up in these readings. I'm feeling the laughter from you guys, some of you guys. So let me see. And I'm sorry if I freaked you out by saying I could perceive that, but I can. I feel the energies of the people around and the reactions and stuff when I'm facilitating these and filming and stuff like that, or even podcasts. So that's just how it goes. And the good people usually can. Maybe not all the good people who do this, but I've just noticed with people who are pretty proficient with this kind of work, they can feel people's energetic reactions and like what's going on with the crowd while they're facilitating what they're facilitating. Um, and by the way, if that's not you, but you feel like you're good at what you do, you could be good at what you do without doing that. I'm just letting you know. So, anyways, I guess I'm not sorry if I freaked you out about that. Let's get back to the message though. So, Orange Crystal, Charizard, what's going on here? All these Pokemon are showing up now, like legendary Pokemon. I used to play Pokemon growing up, so I'm pretty familiar with at least the old ones. Let me see what the message is here. Mm. So there is a big emotional healing that is like leaving, or like it's underway. maybe it's been underway, like maybe the past week or so is what I'm getting, though could be longer or a little bit shorter depending on where you're at with all this. And you're almost like through that. And sometimes when we go through like a mini dark night of the soul is what I'm hearing, or like a minor healing, or it just goes really deep really fast and it's kind of like we're plunged into darkness and we're like, what gives? Things were going well or things like that. We don't realize the universe is really just removing things that would really get in our way for our future if they weren't worked through or removed. So it is for your highest good. It's not like the end of the world, and it's temporary. If you're going through like a mini depression, or things just kind of sucked the past week for some of you or many of you, or whatever, and try not to discount like, hey, there is good coming out of this. It's not all just like one-sided bad. The universe hates you. It's not that. It's not that the universe hates you at all. It's the opposite. um, so there's an emotional healing that's almost through. So pat yourself on the back if you've been working through that and doing what you can to support yourself through that. That's great. For others of you here, there's this message that you're evolving into something legendary, which is actually really cool. And there's going to be different levels of this and different areas of life this pertains to for each one of you. It might not be a one size fits all with the way it shows up. However, like you're evolving into something legendary in your life, in work you're doing. Maybe it's even spiritual work you're doing or something you're putting out in the world. And it could also just be your personal evolution with how you are as a person, where you're really standing out with the high level you're gaining. It could be a frequency, like you're gaining a really high frequency. And this is actually really cool. And it's evolving the collective and forcing everyone around you to go higher and kind of shed and heal as well. And it's not something you're forcing on them and it's negative. It's something their soul signed up for. So don't worry about that. It's uh it's really actually moving everything forward. So you're actually doing really great work if you're recognizing this as you. For I'm getting this is about half of you showing up. This is pertaining to at least some area of your life, some aspect of you, and it's again moving the world forward in some way energetically. So that's really cool. That's awesome. And I would keep doing that. I'd keep doing whatever you're doing to evolve and like further yourself, because it's working and it's going to turn heads. And the universe needs that, honestly, is what I'm getting. It could be like why you're here, at least partly why you're here on Earth. And part of your purpose, even, is just the energies you bring through that evolution, which you signed up for around this time period. So good work. That's really cool. Um, so next thing here for you guys, there's just a message that the universe is really divinely protecting you. So like you don't have to worry about anyone like messing with you. And sometimes there's a lot of fear. One second. What would be for that could be brought through here? Sometimes there's a lot of fear pumped out there about like people trying to bring you down, or people messing with you energetically, or people trying to like tank your life. And it can really only happen if it's in the cards, and if it's what would be best for you in some way. So I hesitate to say most of you, because I feel like 100, like a very vast percentage, would be like, oh, am I in the 2% that's gonna, yeah. So, but what I was hearing was like most of you like really don't need to worry about that. Like you're safe. Like still keep doing your self work. Please keep up with like energetic maintenance and taking care of yourself, keeping your energies clear, and doing whatever you do for balancing and keeping yourself in a good place, etc. It's not a license to slack off with your self-care necessarily. It's just like, hey, you're safe as you're going towards your destiny or towards what you're meant to do, or things like that. And a lot of people really freak out when they don't need to, because of some of the messaging that I hesitate to throw anyone under the bus here, but maybe other readers put out there, about like all these people are trying to bring you down, or all these people are da 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 da. And just don't let it freak you out, and like keep pursuing your purpose. And like the words I'm hearing directly are like, God will protect you. You're divinely protected, things like that. And you wouldn't come here to Earth if you were just gonna get tanked by like someone being jealous of you, for example, or something really silly like that. Like God's not gonna be like, here's this great purpose. Oh, someone's jealous of you. You're done. Sorry. Like, does that not sound like super silly to you? So If you're, like, worried about that sort of thing, like, please maybe really examine that and examine your beliefs around that and examine like, if you're leaving yourself open to be really hurt by that in some way, maybe examine that and look at, like, your beliefs around that and things like that, but, you're safe is what I'm getting to say, so I wouldn't worry, like, too much about it, and I'd keep pursuing your purpose, passion, what you love to do, what you're meant to do, etcetera, if you know what that is, and I know, like, whenever I talk about that, there's someone in the comments who's like, "I'm just trying to get to a place where I'm okay." I totally get that. That can be a big part of your purpose right now is just getting to a place where you're okay, and that's okay. That's not, lesser than. That's some depending on what's happened and where you're at and what's going on. That's a big purpose sometimes on at least a personal level, and that does impact the collective, just your own healing and your own journey and you getting to a good place. So it's not lesser than. And sometimes you just have to take care of yourself, and that's the game right now. Uh, so if that's you, don't think of yourself I know I'm not talking to the whole crowd here, but if that's you, don't think of yourself then as less than or unworthy or undeserving or worse, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Just do what you can and do your best and seek any assistance, support, help you need to help yourself through, whatever you're going through for sure. And just make that a focus. Uh make that something you really dig into and I don't mean put pressure on as in, like, put pressure on yourself, but it's almost like putting pressure on a wound, like, put pressure on that topic and seeking help with it and doing your self-care around it and taking care of it, is, like, what I'm getting to say, I guess. So you guys get it with that. Next thing they're showing me is a buffalo or, like, a yak here, and the word they're giving me is hairy, so, what's up with this here? There's this message and reminder like, "Hey, if things get hairy, you're safe." Uh so I know that's not always what we like to hear with readings like this. It might be something you're already going through. However, like sometimes things do get hairy or seem hairy to us in our human perspective or the incarnate perspective, even if on the big picture level, at the highest perspective, it's like, yeah, they're fine. It's just like they're going through something for whatever amount of time. And I'm just getting you're actually safe. So I suppose that's probably one of the better messages you could get around something getting hairy, as opposed to some of the alternatives. So that's just what I'm hearing on that one. So for some reason they're telling me to tell you about what I was getting around the. I think there's things that I can't say with like the algorithm or YouTube here, but around like 2020 to 2022, where before things really. Went a little bit haywire with all that or hit the fan with all that, I was getting like this message about, if things get hairy, da 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 da. So I'm not gonna say it's like gonna be as intense as that. I mean, maybe some of you are going through something like that on a personal level with you know, an illness. Well, again, legal disclaimer, not a doctor here. However, I feel like I'm just kind of taking too long to get to the point here, and I feel like I already said the point, but that just reminds me of it kept flashing in intuitively, like that one time I got that message, and then all that happened, and I was like, "Oh, interesting." So, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I just think, yeah, I'll just go back to the original message, like, if things get hairy, you're safe, and let's move on here because I'm gonna talk in a circle for whatever for the next couple minutes here. So, next thing they're showing me is a broom, and it's like the angels are sweeping up this floor, and there's like spiders on the floor, and they're like killing these spiders that are running around here. So let me see. Sorry to you spider lovers here. It's just representing something, so it doesn't have to be like they're actually killing physical spiders. Let me see what's up here. So cool message. There is actually a lot of like danger that's being swept away. So even if there is something that's hairy, or if there is like just other things happening, it's like again, like you're safe. And a lot of the worst things that could happen, or all the worst things that could happen, and the worst things that could happen are really being kept away from you at like this crowd right now. Like things are actually really secure, especially on an etheric level, or if you look at a higher perspective, it just again on the human level, it doesn't always look like that. But like it is. So again, it's like kind of a message like you're safe, you're being kept clear of like dangerous energies, of like people who wish to harm you, if that's some of you going through that or anything like that, like you're really safe. So just another message with that. And the other message is like a path being clear because like they're sweeping the path and like your path is being like cleared and you're like ready to go down it. I actually feel like the path has been clear for some time. It's just like being maintained for you. So, and I'm hearing the words whenever you're ready. So, some of you have an idea that has been like divinely inspired or whatever that like you're just not doing, and it's like the road's clear, it's right there, but you're just like not doing it for some reason. I would start if that's you. If you're like delaying on like a project you know you'd like to do or you've been getting to do, it's like the road's being maintained and held open for you. And some of you don't trust that. Some of you think the second you step towards it, there's going to be an obstacle, and there won't be. So, uh, and there might be some of like the haywire mess of like getting things organized when you start a new project or something like that. Like there might still be some normal stuff that happens on a more incarnate or human level as you like embark on a new project or whatever. But that's not a good excuse to not do it necessarily, is what I'm hearing. And I'm just getting you should try it anyways. And it's like, even if past projects have failed, um, it doesn't mean the next one will. And like sometimes you do just have to keep trying things until something works. And I know that sounds sucky, or some of you think that's sucky or not fun or it's lame or whatever. However, like most of the people who like succeeded didn't like stop necessarily for maybe not for long periods of time. Maybe some of them did. However, like they didn't like just give up and then just not try the rest of their life when something didn't work. Like they tried something else, or they attempted a different way, or they tried again, or they asked someone else, or they there's a certain level of persistence, being willing to pivot, being willing to learn and like see what works with like projects or businesses or arts or novels, getting published, whatever it is, and I like wouldn't give up on the first sign of defeat. I'd just keep trying new things and try not to get discouraged. I know that's difficult sometimes, or that might be a tall ask for some of you, depending on your. But when I mean training, I mean like human conditioning, societal conditioning, as in training, or like the way our parents taught us to look at things if we didn't do something right the first time, or what our friends or family members, whatever. Um, I guess what I'm getting to say is like if something didn't work out the first time, like it doesn't define you. It's just like you gained experience, you gained learnings, you gained wisdom, and you can apply that to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until something succeeds. So I just like wouldn't totally give up right now, especially when the path's clear to try something new. You've been like seeking to try or being guided to try. Like again, that could be the thing that works, or it could lead you to the thing that works. I'm not gonna, like, promise anything because like, there is a group here, and you're all in different stages with things, but for some of you, this is the thing that works, okay? I guess is what I'm being guided to say and how I'm being guided to offer the information or advice for you here. So, anything what's up? What else? Yeah, what's up here? So, for some of you who are moving, it's a good move, and I would just accept that it's happening with grace if that's you, and trust the move, and there's, like, a reason for it, and, the other thing I'm hearing is, like, if you're worried about this, the universe wouldn't, like, let us move to a place that would be a total danger to us, especially if you're someone who's divinely guided, divinely have a divinely orchestrated path, things are divinely orchestrated for you. It's like there's a reason you're moving to where you're moving to, and it can be quite strategic depending on the role you play in the collective and the kind of energies you bring to an area and the healing you bring to people around you, yada yada, et cetera. People you're supposed to meet, of course, things you're supposed to encounter and experience. So I would just like trust where you're guided to move, where things land for you. Even for the whole crowd here, I trust things like that. It's like there's a reason for everything. Of course. And sometimes we think it's random and it's just really not. So I would trust that, I guess. So next thing they're showing me is marbles here. I don't let me see where it's going before I quantify it here. It's not my job to judge things. I'm just here to channel messages and intuit things and do what's for the highest good. So what's up here? Okay, some of you feel like you are losing your marbles and you're not. You're just healing at a really rapid pace, and like you just kind of need. This is a different message, by the way. Changing gears. You just kind of need a break from like your normal routine or from like things you can normally handle that are hard for you right now. Like even like if you're just really energetically sensitive and it's going out in public and it's hard to go to the store. I've been there. Uh, or it's like maybe you can handle one store, but the second you start going to like 3 stores in a trip, you're like, "Oh my god," and you're like laid out the rest of the day. You even if you have a lot of, like, energy protection stuff going on, it's like if you hit a new level, sometimes, it's still tough, or sometimes it's just not the right day depending on who you're gonna encounter or be around, so, if that's you, try kind of a side message, but maybe don't, like, force it if you're getting, like, not to go out one day, and you're like, "No, I'm going to the store, blah," and you're like, "Brr," you just get wrecked. Um if that's you and you're kinda learning how to deal with a lot of energy sensitivity or, like, a new level of it, sometimes you just kinda have to listen to your guidance when they're like, "Don't go out today. Maybe go out tomorrow or in 2 days," or something like that when you'll be in a better place to handle it or something like that. Um, okay, so now they're saying I need to give you guys advice on energy sensitivity with just, some things I've learned here. If you're really energy sensitive, I've said this in a couple different places already. However, it's going to be helpful if you're getting a lot of sleep and a good amount of sleep and you're taking care of your basic self care, even for your body, like exercise, like a kind of exercise your body would like. Your nutrition's good, especially like you're getting enough vitamins and minerals and kind of foods your body's asking for. And usually vegetables and things like that are a good idea if you're not sure. And if you're good at talking to your body about that stuff, perfect. Listen to your body about that stuff. However, if you're not at that place yet, at least just do what you know is typically healthy for your body with all that stuff. But that basic self care, it sounds silly, but it really helps with extreme energy sensitivity. It doesn't sound like it would, but it does for some reason, just maybe somehow with how energy fields work and with bolstering your fields and having more vitality and things like that. Um, they're telling me to tell you the theory. I'm also getting it's not the 100% truth, so take this with a grain of salt a little bit. However, some people do talk about how, if they're in a healthier spot, they're taking care of themselves, their energy fields and bodies like expand out more. So a lot of the weird stuff and energies are not as great energies, like they just can't get in or get closer to you. Again, not maybe 100% exactly how it works, but keep in mind this theory. I guess for some reason they're having me tell it too. And it can really help too if you're like really energetically potent and like if you receive an attunement and you're at a high level energetically, like your fields are usually going to be more expanded just with that alone. However, taking care of yourself also helps with that, in addition to any other like intentions you set or good crystals you carry, things you do for like energy protection and things like that. Like, of course, there's things on that level you can do too. I would look at it holistically for most of you. That's kinda what you need if this is you that this is talking to is just kinda what I'm getting, and, like, look at, like, what your body needs, and if you're, like, at this level, you can also ask, like, "Hey, energy fields, what do you need to be more good?" And, like, for that energy sensitive to not, like, knock me over as much, and might be it might be like, "Hey, there's this specific thing you can do or this specific energy exercise," or it might be, "I need to eat more of this food, I need to get more sleep." It might be things like you need to do this healing session for yourself for 10 minutes every day. It could be things like you need this crystal. It could also be things like you need to limit your time with this person, even like texting or on the phone, or you need to post less on social media, or depending, maybe like on a personal page. I know some of you might do it for like work and stuff, and I get that. But you get the general gist by now. Like keep that in mind, like what's gonna help you out with that. And I'd also like the other things, like cleaning and clearing your energy fields every day, at least maybe like morning and night is really helpful. Just keeping yourself clear of others' energies and clear of others, whatever toxins and things like that. And then setting intentions for even for like Archangel Michael to watch over your energies or protect your energies or whatever. Just there's different ways to do it, but you'll kind of learn what works for you as you keep going. But if you've been having trouble with it, don't give up. I would just keep trying new things and adding things in until you find the groove that's working for you. Um, because it can be torture when you're really, really energy sensitive and you don't have anything you're doing for it. It can literally be like I don't want to exaggerate and say the worst thing in the world, but it can be pretty pretty rough. So I would really be trying to take care of you. So that's just some basic advice on that. So I for some reason they wanted me to get into that. I forget where we were going before that though, so I'm just gonna go with where they'd like me to go next here. Hopefully that's good. So next reminder here, they're showing me a machine. They're just saying you're not a machine, which is might be part of why they're talking about this, advice or reminder for you here. And even like machines do need like maintenance, and need like turning the computer off and back on again, or they need updates or, or things like that. And or sometimes the screen cracks, you need to get the screen replaced. And you're not a machine. You do need like maintenance, like you do need to take care of yourself. And I sometimes when we like have a mission like from source or the universe, or we feel called to this thing, we just like assume we can just machine our way through all like the goals and like the trajectories and like the things we need to do, and we just can't. And like that's okay. Like source isn't counting on you being a machine. So take care of yourself like the incarnate being with a body that you are, and like things will just get a lot better for you if you've been trying to approach life that way, like a machine or like an Amazon robot in the warehouse. Like you're not a robot. So just keep that in mind with your just everything, your stamina, how you take care of yourself, etc. And the other thing is like that gets into the point where I feel like I say this every day, and I don't think that's a bad thing either. I feel like sometimes this reminder is really helpful, but you are also here to enjoy your life. It's like you could even say part of your purpose, maybe. I know that kind of like sells that idea in a weird way. I'm not saying this right. Sorry. Uh, it puts that idea out there in a weird way. However, like you are meant to enjoy your life in addition to like a mission, or in addition to like helping people and things like that. I think sometimes we forget that when we're mission oriented as well, that like our life matters too, and our enjoyment of life matters too. And of course, our mission can be part of our enjoyment of life as well, if it's something that really lights us up and fulfills us and things like that. And that's an important piece. However, like putting the things around you to support yourself, to make your life something you enjoy, to give yourself what you need and maybe even what you desire, as much as is for the highest good, really actually important. And again, I would look at your life holistically, not just like what's my mission, but like what do I also enjoy? Like how can I be in peace and joy while I pursue my mission? Like what's going to serve me and fill me up while I'm pursuing what I'd like to do here, or through whatever I'm going through, or whatever, kind of important. Because in some ways, what's being encouraged right now is for about half of you coming back to you and balancing how you're working with the outside world right now, and making sure you're not 100% in like the outside world, working with the outside world. What does the outside world need? What does source demand of me? It's kind of like at least 50-50, or maybe even 51-49. Like, what do I need? And then what can I provide? Or what can I give? Or what can I gift? And like, what do I need? And then what does the outside world need? And it should be 51 you, 49 outside world, is what I'm getting. If that's you and you need more balance with all that. And that's gonna be a lot better than like 75 world, 25 you, because you're gonna deplete, is what I'm getting for this crowd. So even if you're mission oriented, part of your mission has to be you, and like even if it's healing yourself and it's getting you to a good place. Otherwise, this outside mission crumbles, is what they're showing me. So hope that helps and makes sense. Next thing they're showing me is a grasshopper. And what's up with grasshopper friend? I almost said Grasshopper Bay, but I'm not into grasshoppers that way. Personally, I don't know anyone who is, but that's okay. And weird jokes. Okay, let's see what the message is here. So they're showing this grasshopper. There's like a rock on one of its big jumpy hind legs, and but the message is, so one second here. So the angels are going to move the rock off, so it's good. Regardless of whether there's a rock or not, there's like this hesitancy to move forward. We kind of talked about it with the sweeping message as well, and it's safe to move forward. It's safe to move on from things. It's safe to take action, and you need to hear that for some reason. So try not to hesitate on your path, on the things you're meant to do right now, and of course, like what we just talked about with balance with your self care and things like that. One does not necessarily exclude the other. Like you can't have both. or if it's like a project, a business, an idea, asking someone out even, whatever it is, like, I would, stop hesitating and take action because like, now's kind of a good time, and, like, maybe even through July is a good time. And as we kinda get I hesitate to say this, but it's what's coming through. As we get more towards the autumn and, like, the fall time here, so and if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's gonna be, like, the spring. So as we get so if you're watching this in the future, because it's timeless, as we get to about, like, 3 months out, maybe 3 or 4 to maybe 6, but that's a bit far actually, um, we might be guided to kind of not recede, but, like, pull back a little bit, be a bit more internal, kind of recollect ourselves, and maybe even, like, redirect or refine again, you know? And, so now's a good time to take action. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, I guess it's while the sun's out and while the path is clear and while you have a clear, direction or path, it's a good time to take action on that before we're called back into our shells to hermit a little bit or whatever, prepare for the winter, whatever you want to say. And I guess if you're in the southern hemisphere, it'd be preparing for the summer. But that's just the way I'm hearing it right now. So keep that in mind and kind of maybe an overarching theme kind of way here. One more thing, and then we're going to be done with the collective reading, I think, unless there's more to go. They're showing me like a paint with like a rainbow brush, and what's this about here? For some reason, they were showing me like paint with a rainbow brush, but then they were also showing me like I'm not sure if this program existed in like all the different like if you're in the U.S. all the different states or for like all the different like schools or whatever. But there was this program for like kids who were like had parents who were like divorced or whatever called like rainbows, I think. And maybe it was just like a school I went to or something. Maybe it wasn't even like a widespread thing. And like you'd go and like learn about like it's not your fault if your parents divorce or things like that. And yeah, as a kid I remember being like, "Oh, is this supposed to be a big deal? Like why are we doing this?" Like, but anyways, let me see what the message is about that showing up here. Okay, so the message is like if things are divorcing, this doesn't make much sense to me. But if you things are divorcing for you, like it's gonna be okay, is the message. And like you didn't even necessarily do anything wrong per se. It's just like it's just the right move right now. And it could be like divorcing from a partner, even like a business partnership. Maybe it's an actual divorce you're going through. Or maybe you're worried about your kids and you're going through a divorce. This isn't probably all of you, by the way, going through a divorce. But it's like actually okay, or it's like a needed development, and it's probably the best move. So I would kind of let things divorce, whatever this is referring to for you, and try not to like hold on to it or cling to it for whatever idea you have in your mind. It's again, it's the right move. And I think like one of the I don't think a lot of the people here in this crowd are in this space at all with this concept because I think this is a more of like a religious thing. I think one of the big disservices that's been sold to people is that divorce is like evil or wrong or bad. Like so many people stay stuck in like really crappy situations because of like that social conditioning or that religious conditioning or like being afraid of what people think and it's just really not serving them and it just like kind of ruins their life, you know. Not to be dramatic, but it's like that's like their life, you know, that they're stuck in this thing that sucks. So and there could be so many opportunities outside of it if they left. Uh but I guess, like, for some reason, what I'm getting to say with that is, like, try not to let that be you, where you're stuck to something that doesn't serve you because of an ideal or a belief or a religious belief or a social conditioning belief or something like that. Like, try to look at, like, what's best for you, even if there's, like, I mean, you can just check in on what's best for you, a painful separation involved or it hurts or is not what you want totally or you're afraid of what people will think. It's just like it's kind of important you're doing what's best for you in a balanced way with whatever this is pinging on for you, regarding your life and not keeping yourself stuck for others' beliefs or what others think because they're going to die anyways and it's probably not the best. I wasn't going to say it in a way they wanted me to, so what's the best way to say this? They shouldn't really have control over you with what they think or what they project or what they judge. That's kind of a not empowered place to be when you're under the control of others' judgments or thoughts, because they could judge you for anything, and judgmental people are just gonna judge you for anything anyways. Like, they'll judge you if you're rich, they'll judge you if you're poor, they'll judge you if you have an average amount of money, they'll judge you if you have the same amount of money as them. It's like it's not really a you're not winning if you're fighting people's judgments rather than just doing what you're called to do and doing your best and living your best life. So I try not to let that be what controls you, and I try not to let social conditioning be what controls you either. And if you're maybe they're telling me to reference this, but if it's helpful, I did just launch a podcast the other week, and the first episode was about owning your power, and it kind of touched on that too. So maybe if this is hitting, maybe that's an episode to check out if that calls to you to help with the idea of owning your power and the concept. So they're done with the reading. I hope that helped, resonated, or whatever is for you is good. I realized maybe there was a part halfway through where I segued and wasn't on the track that I was on, and it hit different messages. So, it is what it is. I hope it hit on all the things that would be helpful for you right now. Um, and we'll do a full channel mode session in a second here. Ooh, I'm just gonna check on what's going on with chat. So I need to. Hey, everybody on YouTube. You're welcome, Three Little Bits. Thank you, Mary. I'm glad you loved it. Um, hey, you're welcome. I'm gonna drink water and stuff. You're welcome, Sarah. All right, I'm gonna do a dangerous move because I have a smoothie. However, if I drink it weird and it gets in my beard, there's gonna be like green smoothie in my beard, and then I'll just. Oh, thank you, Elemental. I appreciate it. All right. I feel like a circus performer doing some crazy trick, but to you, it's just me drinking out of a mug. So, sorry for the smoothie noises. Okay. How did I not know you had a podcast? Not sure, but I'm glad I mentioned it. Oh, thanks, Elemental. I appreciate it. Heck yeah, Whittaker. And he stuck the landing, says Sunshine Lene. Yes. I'm a professional smoothie drinker. You're welcome, Heather. All right, so they're telling me to start the full channel mode session. So for some reason, the focus might be anxiety. That's what I'm hearing as like a theme. They show me an eagle a lot of times before like full channel mode, but they're showing me an eagle. And it might be about soaring above collective anxiety, honestly. So as well as something about emotional healing, but we'll see where they go. Sometimes like they just go in their own direction with whatever is for the ice going to be brought through. So spot on today. I was just telling my friend I've been having anxiety. Oh, cool. Well, not cool. I'm glad it's spot on. I'm sorry to hear about the anxiety. Um, oh, interesting. Okay. So before I get into the full channel, like one of the things I'm hearing for you guys with the anxiety is it's not all yours. There's a lot of collective anxiety, and like there's a lot of people who are anxious with things with the government and just with the way the world is and their own personal lives and money. And it's interesting because a lot of them are actually fine if they really look at it, or if they like saw the higher perspective. It's just they haven't been trained to look at that yet, which I mean, who not a lot of people in society have been necessarily. So you know what? Let's channel on this and let's see what my spirit guides bring through to just help on this. And so I'm gonna step out of the way, jump into full channel mode. I'm just gonna ask my spirit guides and angels and source to bring through whatever would be for your highest good and highest and best to help out with the topic. And yeah, let's see what comes through today. Give us one moment. Anxiety. See what that word brings up for a moment. Realize that anxiety is not always yours, per se. Anxiety is something many are trained into. And anxiety is something that many sensitive or energetically aware beings on the planet pick up from other people who do not do their work, who do not work on themselves, and who have not learned the tools and techniques for self care that would mitigate anxiety for themselves. For example, many of you feel the anxiety of your parents, should they be alive for you, if you are in frequent contact with them and they have anxiety for you, anxiety about the world, anxiety about their own lives, anxiety about their friends, anxiety about their health, and you internalize it so much for being around it so frequently that you pick it up as yours or even twist it in a sense in the way it shows up for your mental understanding, your thoughts, your feelings, your perception. That you take it on as your own and you go, why am I so anxious all of the time? Well, it is not necessarily yours. So, one of our recommendations for you who feel anxious all the time, especially when you go out in public, when you watch the news or TV, when you scroll through social media and pick up on the anxiety of many others, is to unplug and come back to you for a day or a weekend or a week, whatever time frame you can manage to give yourself within reason for your financial circumstances and your world, and really take time to come back to you and your heart and your energy field, and take time to clear the energies of others, the toxins of others out of your fields. Even every morning, afternoon, and night, or at whatever frequency you notice helps you for. You doing the consistent energy healing, balancing, aligning on yourself, and the consistent clearing of your fields of the toxins of others, the anxieties of others, the worries of others, it allows you to get back into your own natural frequency and high vibration. And it helps you to become a pillar of high frequency and even strength for others who go through anxiety, who see an example of a clear energy field, more clear of anxiety, fear, worry, or concern. And for those of you where it is your own, or maybe 50% of it, or 20% of it, or 75% of it, or a certain percent of it is your own, even 90%. Staying clear of the energies and anxieties of others is at least going to help mitigate the overwhelm and the vast overwhelm of excess anxiety in your fields, which might make it more manageable for you when you utilize techniques to help your anxiety. For you will not then just be managing the anxiety of the world and yourself. You will only be dealing with the facets of your own being that produce anxiety within you and your emotional being and bodies and your fields. And that is far more manageable for a being to usually deal with their own anxieties and patterns than it is to try to cope with their own patterns in addition to the patterns of the world, where the root cause for the individual is not readily accessible unless you've had the training to access that, or the experiences, or identified. So, again, we will recount what we have said. Unplugging from the outside world, if you notice it is overwhelming or causing a lot of anxiety or anxiety spikes, we're not saying hermit away forever. Just hermit away for a bit of time that works for you, or disconnect not from source but from people around you and social media and television for an amount of time that works for you, and clear your energy fields of the energies of others. That will work wonders for about half of you. For the other half, now is the time to dig into the past traumas that began to spike anxiety in your system. The past hurts, the past wounds, the past abandonments, the past money failures in your personal life. Whatever it is, now is the time to heal that trauma. If you know this is you, for some of you, you think it is a trauma that is causing your anxiety. That is not it. You are more healed than you realize. It's the outside world you're picking up on. And you may have to go on your journey a bit and clear your fields and work through this a bit to identify this or work with your intuition, depending on what level you are at with that. But for those of you who know you've had a deep trauma that causes anxiety, what can you do to begin to dissect that, get support around that, unearth that, and move that trauma out of your body? Whether it is through a sound healing or yoga or energy healing, through movements, whatever works for you. And we will not try to identify the thing for each of you right now, for each of you are in a different place with this. You will have to find the thing that resonates for you or that you are called to, or the right practitioner, or the right therapist, or whatever support you need. But once you begin to heal that past issue, that anxiety will lessen for you. We know this sounds obvious for some of you who are more trained in these theories and these ideas and these concepts. However, not everyone has heard this. Not everyone is as well versed as you. So maybe you could be someone who helps these other people who do not have the knowledge or the wisdom or experience that you have already had with this topic. Not that you have to take that on, you can do what you feel called. So anything you are doing to come back to you every day, to do your self care every day, to unplug from what causes you anxiety when you notice it. And it may take some awareness and some heavy lifting of discernment to realize every time you phone that friend, you come away anxious. Every time you turn on that television program, you come away anxious. Every time you scroll on that social media platform with that particular creator, watch that particular video, listen to that particular speaker, you come away anxious. It's time to organize your life around what works for you, not around what you think should be the case. Oh, I should be able to handle that speaker. Well, should you? Maybe you don't realize that speaker has massive anxiety attacks behind the scenes, and they would never disclose that to maintain a public image, for example. Oh, but I love my friend. Yes, you very well may. But you also may need a bit less time with them or to talk about different topics with them when you are with them. Oh, but I can't abandon my family. Probably true for now. But can you put up boundaries, energetic or physical, or with the amount of time you spend with them, if you notice they are always a part of your anxiety spikes or precursors to your anxiety spikes, or that you only feel that anxiety when you're supposed to phone with them, hang out with them, be with them that day? Where you are going to have to put yourself around people who do not cause you anxiety until your fields are more buffered, strengthened, filled up with light, highest wisdom, energy protection, whatever it is that works for you. And you can handle being with those people again. Sometimes your anxiety is assigned to withdraw, and to seek something new. So, we are not trying to diagnose anxiety with this. We are not trying to give a one size fits all solution. We are trying to give you hints that will help you to work through this and get the support you need. But if anxiety is beginning to ruin your life, something needs to change. That is your indicator that something needs to change. For you are worth having a life you enjoy living, and you are worth finding the thing that will solve this for you. Another thing we'll say: what can you do every day, every week, that helps you with anxiety? What things do you notice help it when you put them on YouTube, for example, or when you put in place a particular practice or exercise for yourself? The things that you find mitigate anxiety for you, you consistently showing up and putting them in place, and seeking out new ones if they stop working or don't work as well for you, and continuously experimenting with what you're doing for yourself consistently. That can be the clue and the key that helps you to work through this. For you consistently showing up to deal with consistent anxiety with whatever works for you, and again, you may have to experiment, that can be a key to working out of it. For it may be helpful for many of you to create new habits around it to support yourself instead of just doing things the way you've always been doing them or white knuckling through it. And we realize that may take work. We realize that may take a bit of discernment on your parts, but it's worth it if you'd like a better life. For some of you, the anxiety that comes up, and this is for more of you in the traumatized group or those of you dealing with the trauma, that anxiety is actually trying to keep you safe. And yes, we realize there may be a portion of it that is you picking up on the world or others. And we recommend you take precautions to deal with that, as we've recommended, or as you know to do, or as you find for yourself as you look into this more. However, for the portion of you where it is yours to some degree, you showing up every day, you putting in the consistent things is going to shift it and change it and create the new habits of experience for you and the new experience for you. So don't discount your daily activities, your daily choices, your daily habits as part of dealing with this. And look at it holistically. Look at the foods you eat. How do you feel after that? Better, worse, the same? Really pay attention. That will give you your clues. We have done a lot of energetic work on anxiety through this channel. So you can return to this and re listen to it if you feel you are having a rough day with it or would like some clues on what to do regarding it. We are not going to promise a cure, however, this is going to help elevate you to a place where you are vibrating beyond anxiety. And ultimately, you getting clear of others' energies and clearing your fields regularly is going to help you vibrate above and beyond anxiety. And until you've established that energetic baseline for yourself and that habit of that energetic baseline, continue to show up and work towards it. Your life is your responsibility in a sense. Your experience is your responsibility in a sense. And even if it is others' energies that are causing a certain affliction of experience in your world, it is still your responsibility to find what is going to work for you regarding that. So try not to get into the victim mentality of, oh, everyone else's energies suck and I am screwed. There are things you can do, there are perspectives you can take, there are things that will help. And in the future, there will be less anxiety in the collective. However, you are looking at about 100 years out. So now is the space to fortify your energies, fortify your endurance, elevate, and find a new energetic norm in your personal world. In some ways, you may even consider the phrase whatever it takes within reason. Not in the ways where you're doing something drastic to negatively harm others or yourself, but in a way where you're willing to do what it takes to get to that higher vibration. For you, elevating beyond the collective will be part of your key to defeating anxiety for most of you here. In some ways, if you face anxiety, you are a warrior. And we do not recommend you take that as an excuse to stay in anxiety to prove you are a warrior. For would you not rather return from a battle a victorious warrior than one constantly in conflict? However, you are a warrior. And for those of you locked in the metaphorical battle, you are here for a purpose. Not that the battle is your purpose, not that the anxiety is your purpose. Though it could be a learning for you in this world or a step towards you helping others if you learn to defeat anxiety, if you will, or rise above it. However, we remind you that you have a purpose here and a reason to be here and even a mission here. So you do not let anxiety defeat you in this lifetime. You have something that is bigger than anxiety as a reason to be here, even if you are not sure what that is right now. And we tell you this so that you may choose to go beyond it, so that you may choose to stay even if you go through it, and so that you realize you will be okay, even if you go through it, as long as you work through it. We're going to leave you there. May you find peace. May you elevate beyond anxiety. May you find the additional information you may need to help you with this topic. And we will see you in the future. Signing out for now, the Angelic Collective of Zorbital and Source. Farewell. Okay. Excuse me. So it looks like the live on TikTok was discontinued. That's okay. Maybe some of you jumped over from TikTok. So we're just YouTube now. We're just on YouTube. I hope that helped and did whatever was for the highest good and energetically did whatever was for the highest good as far as rearranging things for the highest good. You're welcome, abundance, love, joy. Good to see you. And thanks, Jessica. I probably should have mentioned YouTube to everyone before starting the full channel on TikTok, but that's okay. They can find this replay or whatever. You're welcome, Jacqueline. You're welcome, Carly. It did a lot. Heck yeah. Thanks, Sarah. So appreciate it. I forgot the camera's right here. You're welcome. That's funny, Andy. Oop, jumped over from TikTok. Awesome, Alicia. You're welcome. You jumped over to Whittaker. You're welcome. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. You're welcome, Heather. Resonated so much. Thank you so much, Cherry. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Jennifer. So I appreciate the heck out of you guys. I'm glad to see some of you jumped over from TikTok when it cut out over there. Just what I needed, as always, is time to heal my nervous system. I'm getting a yes for you on that. Good time to look into that. That'd be awesome, Jessica. No pressure, but I'm looking forward to it. If you feel called to it, at the right time. Hey, Marina, good to see you. Um, so Oh, I appreciate it, Sarah. I realize most of you here live right now are probably totally familiar with my offerings. I'm just going to talk about it, in case anyone's new here or in case anyone's rewatching. However, if you'd ever like to go further with my work, I mean, I have a free newsletter with channel messages that goes out, right now, weekly and monthly. I have one-on-one channeled intuitive readings. I have a monthly membership with a lot more channeled content that goes out every month, and it's just a library of a lot of, it gets updated every month, and there's all the past content as well. So you have a lot of full channel mode sessions, channel guided meditations, depending on the level you know, join. It has lives every month where there's like a Q and channeled A where people ask questions and I channel on it. So potentially a lot of great content that could help you out, ship things for you, do what's for the highest good. So if you're called to that, I'd love to see you there. And then there's also, I guess I do one-on-one mentoring now. So that's more for people who'd like to go deeper into certain things they're working on or, growing your spiritual gifts and abilities, et cetera. And then I have a lot of other classes and offerings like channeled MP3s that are one-offs instead of a membership you can look at too. And that's all on my website, which will probably be in the description below if you're rewatching this. And I'm sure there's more. Oh, I have a free podcast that's on YouTube, and it's also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's called the Channeling Source Podcast, and that tends to go deep into go deep into various topics that I channel on, and then I do a full channel mode session at the end, usually for those episodes too. So whatever you're drawn to, and I know you can find the rest probably on my website. So go there if I missed something and you want to look at it, I guess. So I think that's it, though. I might hang out for like just a couple more minutes and talk to everybody here. I wish that YouTube would continually show me the chat on the device I'm using, but it keeps disappearing on me. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. That means a lot. Oop, oop, come back, chat. Come back. There we go. Oh, I thought I. You have a great rest of your night too, Jacqueline. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week up or next upcoming week and beyond, I guess, too, not just the week. And I'm wishing you abundance and peace and a rise above anxiety if you've been dealing with it. And I guess I'm done here. So you guys have a good rest of your night, and I will see you sometime, somewhere, somehow in the future, probably with some other content. Um, Sunshine, I really appreciate you letting me know. I'm getting to pass on it for now. There's actually a lot of other work I need to get to, so or at least a certain amount. So I think I'm gonna try to conserve energy for it. But I appreciate it, and it does mean a lot that you trust me with questions too. So thank you. But perhaps in a future live or some other time. You're welcome. All right, guys. Anything else before we part ways here? All right. I love you guys. I guess I'll see you later, and I won't drag this goodbye out any longer. Okay. See ya.